you, Sanya, for the introduction. My name is Julija Sardelic. I usually, when we first met, I usually introduce myself as post-Yugoslav because I'm both like Croatian and Slovenian citizen. I come from a mixed marriage and so on. So it's still somehow only the nationalist projects are something that I'm not close to that much. So that's why I like the center a lot, because it's trying to go beyond like some national projects. But okay, let me go back. So I used to work, I was very happy because you mentioned the Stiftung, because I used to work as a civil society activist. My topics are somewhere on the border between citizenship and migration. However, I focus specifically on marginalized minorities and even more specifically on Romani minorities from Southeast Europe. Before I started working in academia, I used to work in civil society. I used to lead an NGO. And actually, the NGO I was leading won a country award for Stiftung for basically what we were doing with the position of Roma. But okay, as Sanya mentioned, then I went on to take a position at the University of Edinburgh, this big project. It was called CITSI. I was actually led by Professor Joe Shaw, who is also now director of the Institute of Advanced Studies at the University of Edinburgh. And the project that I was looking before was, I was doing socio-legal studies on how position of Romani minorities was transformed after disintegration of former Yugoslavia, so transformed as citizens. So what was their position then? And I was looking, this was a socio-legal study, so I was looking at documents, citizenship acts, and so on. And then later on, I got this postdoctoral fellowship at the European University Institute, the Max Weber. I was a Max Weber fellow. At both of these positions, I was missing something which made me apply here. So, because one of the topics was protests and movements. So, what I was missing was how the Roma are usually in different documents described as very, very passive, like they're like passive observers of their position. And this is something I really, really want to counteract this image, because, like, for example, many of the Roma in former Yugoslav region are legally invisible. However, that doesn't mean that they're robbed of their agency. And that's what I wanted to, basically, Center for Advanced Studies Southeast Europe gave me a chance to, because of the topic, to research how do Roma, who are on the ground, sometimes even not connected to different NGOs and so on, what do they do to react to their position, either they're legally invisible or without any documents. Then, like, many of them are segregated in schools, still in Croatia, for example, and so on. So that's my interest, to see what is the agency of these people, how do they react, how are they acting as active citizens, if I use the word of alienation, use the phrase of alienation. And the other thing that is very, very interesting to me, because I work in this theoretical framework of citizenship and migration, is how the position of marginalized minorities, such as Roma, and their agency as well, is changing when it comes to such big things as what we call now refugee crisis. Because what I see, and this is particularly what's interesting in my research, is that like many so former Yugoslav citizens are getting at the moment deported from Germany because of this, like, I can't even call it exchange, but like basically they're getting deported because, okay, you're now from the same country according to the new asylum law. And the question that I'm asking them, so what's the position of those who were deported because of this and so on? So that's another strand that I'm very, very interested in. And I'm really, really happy to be here, because at all of the institutions where I worked before, they were great and everything, but I was missing this component. I was really missing this component, and here I have an opportunity to develop this component. On one hand, to show Roma not as passive observants, but active agents. They're like counterpoint of their position, on one hand. But on the other hand, what is really, really valuable, and I feel like we have to congratulate everybody who chose the fellows, that we have these interactions among the fellows, because really, I have a feeling every time I talk to these people, all of you, also the fellows, but also the staff, this is so enriching. I mean, we're working on different topics, but I think, like, I don't know how you managed to choose like such amazing people.
Thank you, Julia.